aka Blame Truth, a video gamer YouTuber best known for his Call of Duty and Pokemon video game narrations, seemed to have been experiencing some strange anomalies in his home after his cousin returned the Pokemon Blue game that he had borrowed. The game was suspected by Anthony to be haunted, and the cause for the strange events occurring in his home. Apparently, his cousin had it with him while playing on a Ouija board in an abandoned hospital that was rumored to be haunted. One thing was for certain: Anthony was not home alone anymore. From being woken up in the middle of the night by loud sounds coming from the other room, to waking up one morning and finding a strange document on his desktop that he had no clue as to how or why it had got there. Whether ghosts or something else. Finally, to top it all off, shortly after he began telling his viewers about what was happening, he began receiving odd video responses from another YouTube channel that seemed to have something to do with it all. That channel was called 01A51CD0, and this is the story of how that cult and their sovereign recruited Blame Truth into their fold, and what led to the disappearance of his friend Lindsay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the rest of the story.
Hey guys, I'm Lindsay, and you're probably wondering what's going on. Let me just tell you, I got back from college and I saw that Anthony's mom was renting out Anthony's old house, so here I am. I'm gonna stay for a little while. I've been here for a couple of days, and while going through the closet the other day, I found an old laptop, and I just opened it, and on the desktop there were all these videos. And I knew it was Anthony's laptop because Anthony was in all of them. And so I started watching them, and they were very strange. So I thought about uploading them to YouTube. So I opened the browser, and Anthony's account was already logged in. And the videos were there. Well, most of the videos were there. And some recent uploads, some very strange upload recently. So I called Anthony's mom because I wanted to see if Anthony was okay, and she was really short with me. She was really nervous sounding, and she gave me no location on Anthony whatsoever. So I wanted to upload the videos onto another channel because it seems like someone's hacking the old one, and I don't think it's Anthony. So if I hear from Anthony, I'll definitely let you guys know.
On November 11th, the day after Anthony uploaded his Wilmington trip discussion, 01A51CD0 responded with waiting patiently. This video contained a scene from Bud Dwyer's suicide, which was broadcasted live on January 22nd, 1987. Upside-down letters bounced around on the screen in a jittery fashion, spelling out playful threats like "Curiosity killed the cat," and "It's all part of the plan," and finally "Waiting patiently," which appears as the screen turns to static. Could they be referring to his trip? Were they setting him up for something? The final update, uploaded on November 13th, was the last video concerning the paranormal on Anthony's main channel, Blame Truth. In this video, he informed the public that any other video concerning ghosts and goblins would be uploaded on his side channel, the Blame Truth Project, which has since removed all content. More importantly, he revealed an email he had received concerning the hospital in Wilmington and the ghost that was haunting him. According to Anthony, on his trip, he had found out about the flu epidemic of 1918, or Blue Death, brought over by the Germans after the Great War. Named so for turning the color of flesh blue, the Blue Death seemed to have chosen Wilmington as the starting point of the plague. And now Miss Name Retracted for Now claimed in an email that she had a grandfather that had died after the war of the influenza, possibly in that hospital. She also noted the significance of the number 5, as that was the number of wounds her grandfather had received during the war. Some viewers noted that that was the number of wounds Christ had received on the cross. Later that day, 01A51CD0 replied with the video "Watching You." It was a montage of creepy dancing marionettes of the popular children's musical group, The Wiggles. Again, there were the upside-down messages skittering across the screen, this time taunting. "You're easier to fool than I thought. Nothing was what it seemed, and you fell for it." It seemed as if they wanted to make themselves more known to Anthony, and that they were responsible for the strange things that seemed to have been going on. Apparently, he had been falling for some kind of prank or trap. Who were they? What was their agenda? Late one September afternoon in 2012, nearly a year later, a YouTube channel called Recordings began uploading a series of videos that at first seemed to be about paranormal activities happening in a small town in North Carolina. Videos 1 through 17 were uploaded only days apart, from the 11th through the 13th. They depict the beginning of Blaine Truth's paranormal vlog and its eventual descent into paranoia, gang stalking victimization, and finally his disappearance. The first video prologue states that it was created after the events that took place in Recordings 1 through 16 to try to sum up what had been happening. There was a time jump, a video dump, and Anthony went missing. And now 1 through 16 will reveal the events that led to his disappearance. Recordings 1 had Anthony introducing the series as a ghost hunting and urban legend-based show, and would showcase local haunted areas. He would be using his new camera, as he had misplaced his old one. Here he does talk briefly about the strange channel, and how viewers pointed out that the first letter in each paragraph of the email spelled out to lies. Were the people behind this channel sending him false emails? Although he says all paranormal activity in his home had ceased since his return from Wilmington, the description states that strange people can be seen in the background. Were they keeping a close eye on him? Again in Recordings 2, someone can briefly be seen standing outside his window after he returns home from visiting a haunted church. Here he leads us to the blue camera that he has been looking for but could not find. Were people still sneaking in and around his home when he was unaware? Meanwhile, 01A51CD0 replied consecutively with "Did you see us?" and "Don't ignore," confirming that their masked presence could be seen in the graveyard and in the window. And at the end of "Don't Ignore," we are shown Bud Dwyer pull the trigger on his gun and collapse. Anthony responded by threatening to get the police involved in Recordings 2.5. he had received a handwritten note in his mailbox along with a fortune cookie fortune. "Your home is a pleasant place from which we draw happiness," read the fortune. "But we was you marked out." The note said, "Check the camera," referring to the blue camera that was missing. Could they have put something on the camera while it was missing? Recordings 3 was mainly uneventful. Anthony and his girlfriend returned to the haunted church at night and recorded some strange sounds. But in recordings 4, Anthony shows us another email, this time revealing the sender's name to be Christina White. He also shows evidence that the sender was whoever was behind that strange channel. The email advised Anthony to go back to the first letter and read between the lines. Not only did he get all lies by taking the first letter of the title and the paragraphs, but when the text was highlighted, between each paragraph were upside-down hidden messages that read, "Take the bait. It really begins now." And when he went back and highlighted the second email, it read, "Check the camera. Upload what you find, or we will take the girl." Anthony wasn't about to give in to threats, and was determined to not let this nonsense stand in the way of making a paranormal show. In an even more cryptic response, 01 uploaded "It's Not Over," a collage of selected words and images conveying esoteric and cult-like ideas. Were they now trying to get their ideology across? Perhaps the answers were on the blue camera, but Anthony was not yet ready to look at it. In recordings 5, he decided to take a trip one night with his girlfriend Ashton to a dark locale called Goat Farm Road. So secluded it was that it didn't even appear on their GPS. It was said to have had cult-like activity in the past, satanic mass, and animal sacrifice. The night would prove to be eventful for the duo after stumbling across something they shouldn't have. Upon crossing the gate at the end of the road, they came upon a figure crouched over something in the darkness. It was hard to see, the camera was blurry, but the figure seemed to be dressed all in black and wearing a mask. The couple took off running in disbelief to the safety of their car. What did they see? What did they find? At least it seemed they were safe. For now. In recording 6, Anthony surprises us one night by discovering a deer head on his front porch. When his girlfriend spoke to an officer she knew on the subject, she said he wanted nothing to do with it. What's more was his response from 01, "Welcome back." A woman wearing a bunny mask standing beside an old trailer. Upside down words flashed, "How nice of you to visit our territory." Then there is a flashing image of a severed deer head. This must have been a warning that he was getting too close to something. These people seemed to mean business, and the police were of little help. It would be in their best interest to do what this cult said and upload the footage from the blue camera before somebody got hurt. Too graphic for YouTube. Recording 7 was censored and re-uploaded. It contained what Anthony at first mistook for self-mutilation, but later found out to be something worse. It was a bloody mess in a bathtub. A human body lay lifeless with cuts all over and plastic wrap wrapped around its face. A garbled voice recited something almost incomprehensible as messages flashed invertedly as usual. The wait is over. He reaffirmed that the police would not look into it, and now that he had uploaded this video, he was afraid that they might try to frame him for this. 01A51CD0 seems to congratulate him for playing their game by responding with their longest video ever, named after that same phrase, "The wait is over." You know why we're doing this. You will remember eventually, and a clue will find its way to you. Hint at what is to come. Scenes from One Got Fat, a 1960s bicycle safety video, show people wearing monkey masks. Happening upon gruesome deaths for not obeying safety rules are strewn together, while an excerpt from a novel by Kurt Vonnegut is being recited.
Trips were taken in even the most unreasonable lengths of time. Once the fastest thing possible, they say, right now belongs in the graveyard of history like the Pony Express. I now ask this human being brave enough to stand next to me to pick two twinkling points of obsolete light in the sky roads. It doesn't matter what they are, except that they must twinkle. If they don't twinkle, they are either planets or satellites. Tonight we're not interested in planets or satellites. I picked 2 points of light maybe 10 feet apart. One was Polaris. I have no idea what the other one was. For all I knew, it was Pete, a felt star the size of a BB. Do they twinkle, he said. Yes, they do, I said. Promise, he said. Cross my heart, I said. Excellent, he said. Now then, whatever heavenly bodies do...
Timequake explores the idea that there is no free will, and that if we had anything to do over again, we'd probably do it the same way we did it before. Could they be hinting that they now had Anthony under their control? That he was now their trained monkey, and that he'd better follow the rules or else? At the end we see a final image of Dwyer, this time his face covered in blood as his body lay limp. What was the Bud-Dwyer connection? Could they have been using Bud as a metaphor because of him apparently being framed? Could they have been gaslighting Anthony, trying to put thoughts of suicide in his head? Or could Dwyer have stood for something much deeper than this? Perhaps there was a secret cabal, or a group of officials that formed a secret order after witnessing what had happened firsthand. One that sought to eliminate injustice in the justice system. In Recordings 8, we find out that Anthony's privacy was compromised even more when he showed us hidden cameras had been set up around his home. The devices had been transmitting information to an external source, but upon checking the footage, he only found him in his home. No weird glitchy stuff. The next day, however, when friends and fans asked what was up with the strange video he posted, I must imagine his shock to find out that 01A51CD0 somehow hacked his account and uploaded a video called Your Clue. A clue will find its way to you, promised the wait is over. And here it was, a very watery video depicting a stream that was upside down, a fountain, and finally a distorted image of a drain tunnel in the woods. The complete message of the video was, "Hello, Anthony. You know why we're doing this. You just seem to have trouble remembering. But that's okay. We like this game of cat and mouse. We like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs that only lead you in circles. But in short, you saw something you weren't supposed to see. Still don't remember? Your next clue will be here. Face your fears." The video seems to be directing attention to a place they want Anthony to go to, a fear they want Anthony to conquer. Or could it be a trap? His fear of being framed was becoming stronger. After uploading their own video to his channel, they decided to upload a video of him on their channel. Someone is Paranoid shows footage obtained from Anthony without him knowing. Calmly walking to a mailbox, his shadow shows he is filming with a camera. After a moment at the mailbox, he exudes a sense of shock and runs back to the house. One has to wonder, could that have been cut footage of recordings 2.5 when Anthony mentions retrieving the letter from the mailbox? He was, after all, quite worked up. Fear of being watched at home led Anthony to give us an update while driving in Recordings 9. He expressed his shock in finding the mysterious upload to his channel. Knowing the location it was filmed, he decided he would play their game and look for the next clue. He also tells us that he knew what they meant when they said, "Face your fears." They were referring to his fear of deep water, for when he was younger, he almost drowned in a swimming pool. How do they know that much about him? And why must he overcome this fear? Still Paranoid looks as though it is filmed from the vantage point of a hidden camera. Could this be Anthony out for a calm morning ride when paranoia strikes? Maybe he sees something we don't. Is it there or not there? The video in a way mirrors Recordings 9 when Anthony confessed his fear to us. Though Recordings 10 and 11 weren't very important to the story arc, they did have some action as there was a late night car chase scene, but it wasn't until after Recordings 12 did we hear from 01A51 again. In Recordings 12, Anthony decided to finally go to the place where his next clue should be. This time he would bring back up his friend Frank. Standing in a parking lot, they readied their weapons and headed for the woods. They passed a fountain along the way. It was the same fountain from your clue. Upon further travels, they find the drain tunnel, and after much searching, they spot the clue. BT swallows his fears and climbs the watery ledge to retrieve it. Again, it was an SD card and a fortune that read, "You are ambitious." Soon after, they heard noises coming from the woods. It had gotten dark as they left, so it was hard for the camera to pick up. But vague shapes can be made out if looked at closely enough, of hiding faces poking out from behind trees. Only after knowing this can we see how much "you did well" makes perfect sense. Here, two people in a parking lot are gearing up for something and are being filmed by the group. The two people are Anthony and Frank, about to go to the woods to fetch the next clue. What's important is that by uploading this video, Anthony may be spared from being framed, as this may be evidence that shows that he himself was being stalked. Up till now, everything on this channel was made to look like he himself may be doing it to cover something gruesome up. He had been worried that the police might eventually look at him as a suspect. It would seem like the group had their eye on him. They wanted him. They wanted him to understand that he had no free will, and that if he didn't follow their rules, either him or someone he loved would get hurt. But at least now there was evidence of him being stalked by another party. Considering this is the last upload to the channel, I must surmise that the sole purpose of the channel was to seduce Anthony into their cult. Now that he was about to join them, there was no need for the channel. If they needed to speak to him from now on, it would be in person or in an email. Recordings 13 was an upload of what was found on the SD card from the woods. It was filmed inside of a darkened home, but there were flashlights. At first, the black gloves of someone from behind the camera can be seen. Then a tall figure in a bunny mask standing close by in the shadow. A close-by mirror reveals the camera operator to be wearing a monkey mask. As we follow them down the hall into the bedroom, we see Anthony asleep in his bed. Who knows when this was recorded? This could go all the way back to the beginning for all we know. Recordings 14 is another video by the cult sent to Anthony in an email by Christina White, this time revealing the mastermind behind the group, the Sovereign. Join us. Starts out with a shot of some sort of lot, with what looks like storage units in the background. There is a distorted voice welcoming Anthony to their fold. The Sovereign has taken special notice of him. There is a shot of a church, and the voice explains that they are not devil worshippers, nor any religion at all. They are a group that makes sacrifices out of criminals that slip between the fingers of the long arms of the law. Finally, there's a shot of a worn-down basketball hoop, and the voice informs that they are not playing games. Slender Man and the bunch are children's stories. They were ready to, as they said, come out of the shadows, and that they would be waiting patiently to meet up with Anthony. Recordings 15 is only more talk of police non-involvement due to the group's vigilante nature, but Anthony does confirm he is going to meet with them, which he does in recording 16. Brandishing a firearm, he meets them in a dark, watery area, perhaps a dock of some kind. He tells us the audio has been removed for legal reasons, but we can see what looks like a conversation taking place between our protagonist and the two fellows wearing animal masks, a bunny and a monkey. He lets us know that he is only playing along, as he has no intentions in joining them. He only wants to find out more information about them. Anthony then informs us that a week after he met with them, he found another SD card along with a fortune in his mailbox. The fortune said, "The best prophet of the past is the future." The video on the card was called Hello Again, and at last we are shown one last video from the group we know only as 01A51CD0. As the camera zooms out, we see 6 animal masks lined up on the ground in 2 rows of 3. An off-key recorder playfully performs a tune as pleasant as nails on a chalkboard, and we have more words. This time in a different font and not upside down. Slightly more pleasant on the eyes, these words scroll across the screen slower than the others and not jittery. "Hello friend," it read. "You are persistent. We will see you soon." He then informs us that at the end he is going into hiding. Could he be hiding from the group, or did he finally decide to join them? He would keep us updated if anything else happened, but sadly this is the last we hear from him, with his last words being, "Until then, farewell." In recording 17, we are introduced to a new character, Lindsay, who is the main protagonist throughout the rest of the series. She never explains exactly how she knows Anthony, but she seems to be someone from his past. She had just returned home from college and was now renting the house from Anthony's mother while he was away. Upon finding one of Anthony's old laptops, she found the recordings videos and uploaded them to the channel. She soon received a message from Anthony along with a clue. He said there was something he wanted to show her, but was afraid of being followed. He left a clue to be deciphered, which led her to a wooded area, but before she had a good chance to look at anything, something frightened her to run away. Later, she shows us strange lights coming from her windows at night while she's asleep. With the aid of people on Twitter, she discovered that using a black light would reveal a hidden message written in invisible ink, another clue or hint. She found the buried treasure quite easily this time when X marked the spot. But upon finding it, she discovered that it would only lead to more dark questions. There was an SD card and a photo of a little girl. On the back was a note that read, "You could have saved her." Another fortune cookie note along with it read, "You will make change for the better." Shocked and confused, and I would presume a bit insulted, she was interrupted by a presence. She pulled out her pocket knife as the stranger wearing a wolf mask slowly approached. Could this have been Anthony? It looked about his size, and he was with them now. Perhaps, as one Twitterer points out, the group found out about Anthony's clue and replaced it with their own note. Maybe there were many of them hiding, watching, and as punishment to Anthony, perhaps they wanted him to kill her. Maybe Anthony had to figure out how to get out of the situation without either of them getting hurt. That's why he walked so slowly and why she got away. Finally, in Recordings 23, Lindsay lets us know about the little girl in the picture. She was Lindsay's little sister, whom had drowned only a few years before. Her suspicions were heightened, for Anthony knew of this. But why would he blame Lindsay? This didn't seem like him. Could he have been brainwashed? Suddenly her dialogue was cut short when she heard a noise coming from the other room. As she went into the living room, the noises turned into loud rapping sounds coming from the front and the back door. She ran to the kitchen and unsheathed a butcher's knife and went to the back door. The knocking had stopped and she peered outside. There was a note and a beat-up, tattered bunny mask. The note read, "You are ours now. Welcome to the family. Upload the video from the SD card to your channel. You have until the end of the month to do so, or your family will die, just like your sister did. You are responsible. We will do whatever the Sovereign asks. It is advised you do the same." Sadly, this is the last video uploaded in the series, and we do not get to know what was on the SD card. From here, we are only left with speculation as to what happened to Lindsay. Perhaps this was too much for her, and she ran away, or worse. What if it was because she didn't follow their rules and upload the video? We all know what happens if you don't follow the rules. And finally, how might Lindsay's sister's death connect to Anthony's fear of drowning? Could the Sovereign have witnessed both incidents? Could both have been the same? Could Anthony have nearly drowned trying to save Lindsay's sister, and at that point develop his fear of watery depths? Lindsay did say Anthony knew about it. Before we close, I want to add that when I googled Christina White Goat Farm Road, I found something very interesting. I found a message board talking about a girl that disappeared from Goat Farm Road in the 70s named Christina White. Apparently, the locals believe 3 people to be the cause of the disappearance, and of many more, but are powerless against them, for there indeed seems to be a crooked police cover-up. I won't give any names here, but a link to the site is provided below in the description. But what makes this part the most fascinating part are the dates of the posts. When pleas to reopen the case were posted in July 2016, and Recordings 23 was uploaded in October 2012, it shows there's almost a 4-year gap. Is there some truth behind this ARGing? Did Anthony base the cult on real people? Or is this game still ongoing? To me, if the series as a whole were making some sort of statement, it would be that everything we do is based upon a set of rules, and if we stray from these rules, we may be removed from the matrix of things. In the end, we find that we have no free will of our own. It is easier to give in than to struggle. This idea is backed by the name of the channel that was working to put Anthony in checkmate, 01A51CD0. It is also a Game Shark code that will produce a very symbolic effect. To explain better to you the mechanics of this action, I have risen my assistant from her eternal slumber. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Affable Zombie.
After much searching, trying to find the meaning of the name of this channel, I came across a Pastebin post which read, if we look at the video response to the white ditto entitled is 01A51CD0. This Game Shark code is a code for replacing or battling Pokemon's first move with Struggle. Imagine replacing Dittos transform with Struggle and Fight Whistle. As you Pokemon aficionados know, Ditto can only learn Transform, which, when you turn to Struggle, means that Ditto can only use Struggle, which effectively means that you send out this Pokemon to struggle to death.
And so now you see that struggle is the underlying theme of the story. As with any story, there must be a struggle to compel the storyline. And now with Lindsay gone, deceased or in hiding, we may never